popular Canadian health and wellness app, Carrot Rewards. In just 2017, Carrot's user base grew from 100,000 users to over 600,000 users. Chris will provide insights to Carrot's amazing startup journey, as well as the tools they utilized along the way to being voted Best Canadian Developed App of 2017 by MobileSyrup. That is awesome. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you. So I'm Chris. This is not my first time here, and I'm here to tell you all a little bit more about Carrot Rewards. So as they mentioned, sorry. We good? Awesome. Thank you. As we mentioned, last year we won the MobileSyrup Reader's Choice Awards for the best developed app in Canada, which was fantastic. So I'm here to tell you about Carrot Rewards and kind of our focus. Sorry, I just don't have my notes, so this is going to be off the cuff. I'm here to tell you about Carrot Rewards, our story, and kind of what we're doing to really impact the civic tech space in Toronto. So what we really do is we focus on two things. Mostly our love for technology and our cell phones, but as well as our obsession with loyalty points. So fun fact, did you guys know that on average Canadians have 4 or more loyalty points in their wallet? So what we really want to do is we really want to help people bring the long-term goal of health education and health wellness and living a healthier life, more active, to the day-to-day. So as we all know, I'm sure we've all been where we wanted to have better health goals in the long term, but it's really hard to bring those, 2, 3, 1 year goals into the day-to-day. So what we really want to do is use nudge to give people a little incentive from day to day to keep on that journey so that we can help them along the way to really realize what their goals are. So has anyone here heard of Carrot Rewards, have it on their phone? That's awesome. So I'll just give you a little bit of background for the people that don't know. Basically, Carrot Rewards rewards Canadians with the loyalty point providers that they love by learning more information as well as being more active. So, for example, we have surveys, we have quizzes, and we even have instructional videos where you can get rewarded for just learning more about certain healthy behaviors. And then we also have our steps page here. So another part is just the activity level. So what we do is we reward you for being more active. There's a couple different types of challenge. One, we have a daily goal. So what we do is we set your baseline on your normal activity, and then we increase it just a little bit, just to get you to walk a little bit more. And you can get points every single day for walking a little bit more than your average. But we also have what's called a step-up challenge. And we challenge you to, out of 14 days, to hit your goal 10 days. And if you hit your goal 10 out of the 14 days, you get even more points. So again, this is really just about nudging you that little bit extra so that when you take that extra 5 or 10 minutes at the end of your day to walk around the block, that you feel a little bit better about that goal rather than thinking, oh, that extra 5-10 minutes won't make a difference, but it really will. So as she said, basically we have 650,000 users at this point, just in a little bit over 3 years, which is fantastic. 70% of our users actually engage monthly, and out of our monthly users, 50% of them engage daily. This means that we have between 200 and 300,000 people on our app every single day. And to give you a little idea, we have 5 developers. So we've scalability and stability is really key to our platform. Here is just a couple of the tools in our toolbox to engage and teach people more about active behavior and a healthy lifestyle. So we have quizzes, we have surveys, we have steps, videos. We also have location, we have Bluetooth enabled offers, we have maps. So for example, to show you the closest place to get a flu shot. We have daily tips, just a little bit of insight every day to give you a tip on how to live a healthier life. We have bonus codes, you can interconnect with different platforms just to really engage our users the best. We wouldn't be anywhere without our fantastic partners and our clients. So as you can see, we work with some of the top name brands of point providers in Canada, just so that the daily goal, the daily points that you can earn mean something to you. If you already have these in your wallet, then you will appreciate what we can provide to you every day a little bit more. We also work with a lot of private and public companies to teach people different areas of health. There are several different factors of health, right? We have environmental health, we have mental health, we have physical health, and we really want to touch on all of these because I'm sure all of us understand or know people that have been impacted by one of these areas. And you can't say one is more important than the other. It's really important for your holistic health to really tackle all of these areas. And we also work with academic partners to really dive into our data and understand the best way to help people along the journey, whether it's the right time to nudge them, or it's about how to incentivize them to actually walk and achieve their goals all the way through. We have a lot of provincial and we have a lot of national programs, but since it's Civic Tech Toronto, I wanted to go through one of our use cases for a local client. So recently we worked with the Toronto Public Health Agency. And really what we wanted to do is increase knowledge around healthy activities, sedentary behavior, as well as just overall healthy information. And our goals were really to determine people's individual levels of activity, sedentary behavior, but also inform them, as well as incentivize people to go to the online resources that they have. So I'm not sure how many of you know, but there are a significant amount of websites there that the public health has put out there to really allow their citizens to understand and use the resources that they have available. And we really wanted to drive people to these resources. So the campaign we ran hit about 92,000 Torontonians. And the amazing thing is just an awareness. These are some of the insights we've got. 89% of people did not know the strength training guidelines. 71% could not correctly identify sedentary behavior. And 64% did not know the screen time guidelines for children. This is important because it's hard to make the best decisions in our lives if we don't have the information to make those decisions. And again, we're not faulting anyone for not knowing this. It's important that you can identify that we're not aware of these so that we can actually follow up and engage people and give them the information to make themselves, their family, or even the planet a better place. So basically in activity, in the entire group of people, we were able to see a 19% increase in activity, which is fantastic. But even better, we were able to see a 54% increase in the lowest group on the platform, which was fantastic. And even just the introduction to this program, we saw a drastic improvement in their activity on the first week alone, which shows that just even a little bit of help along this process and bringing it into the day can really kickstart someone's goal to achieving so much more in the long term. And this is just a 3-month period beginning April 2017. What's next? So it's really important for us to utilize the newest technology. So we've been looking at different machine models to improve the user experience. So when's the best time to nudge someone that they're going to miss their goal and get them to walk 5 minutes longer? Or what's the best time to deliver information so that people actually engage and retain that information the most? We've also looked at a carrot coin. We've built our own blockchain ledger to determine, do we really is there a value to our business to have our own currency and to provide that to people as well. And the one thing we're really proud of is our analytics. So we use a lot of big data services that allow us to not only have real-time data and analyze all of our data as it comes in, but able to do complicated algorithms and complicated searches to really determine the insights of the data that we have. And the great part is, because we use these big data services, we can now scale to the level of big companies, which is really important to us because as we've seen in our history, we can roll out a new province and our user count will literally double overnight. And if anyone's seen that kind of growth, if you don't have the foresight to plan these activities, you'll really have a hard time when you launch to a province and it's not available, or all of a sudden your analytics are swamped and you might not be able to provide insights for several weeks. So it's really key for us that we were able to keep that up. So that's just a little bit about Carrot. I just wanted to give you kind of an overview. We would be happy to talk more later about kind of how we can utilize this platform to really engage more people within the Toronto community. Or if you have any questions about our big data technologies, our machine learning technologies, or just how we can scale on a team of 5 developers, we'd be happy to stick around and talk to anyone about anything later on. So now that was it for me, so I'll open up to any questions that anyone might have. our privacy policy. It is on our website. Basically, we don't show any, we don't provide any data to anyone. We don't sell it, and we don't even provide it to companies because we understand how important data is in this world. And as well as, it's very private. Right? We just saw with a certain company recently that decided to show a heat map and showed very classified information, right? So it's critical to us that we only use our data to help our user experience and provide better insights for ourselves. Yes? Sorry.
So, hello. Hello? Okay. So you talked about big data at the back end. I'm just wondering what you use. Do you like Firebase, AWS, your own servers, some combination?
Yeah, so our whole entire stack's AWS. So we use Kinesis to have the logs into our stream. We have an EMR set up so that we can aggregate data or run our ML kind of APIs on it. And then we move all that with Lambda into Redshift so that we can do the complicated queries. We use a couple different technologies to visualize it. We use Redash because the queries are simple and easy. And we're using QuickSight more and more because it is a really robust platform that can take on some of the bigger ones as well. And it's great because they're not complicated technologies, but they can infinitely scale. So we really wanted to leverage the AWS managed technologies so that we can get the most out of our small team.
Okay. So just like the difference between somebody who just wants more scene points and knows how to use the app to get the scene points and somebody who's actually like improving their behavior, I guess, how do you tell the difference and how do you actually make how are you sure that people are actually improving their behavior versus just getting points?
Yeah, so we actually have an internal insights team that looks at the data and basically rips out anything that would seem odd behaviors, right? So we make sure that we kind of analyze the entire group and make sure that there's not one person entering in the one value all the way through. And we really rely on them to tell us what is good and what is bad data, as well as, when we see the personal impact, right? There's some people that you'll see that start clicking through and then they go, oh, I learned something there. Oh, I didn't know that, right? So it's really interesting how our data team can go in, chop up the data, determine which users are valid, which users are not, and we use a machine learning algorithm, forget the model, but we use it for fraud detection because that's an easy way for us to tell if these users are real or not. And a big part of that can sit on our steps data as well, right? How often are we getting steps? When do we get steps? And things like that is really easy to identify if these users are active or if it's kind of something else.
I notice you're talking about steps as a way of avoiding sedentary lifestyles. How about pedaling?
Yes, this has been a very big requested feature for us. We definitely want to get a lot of different activities, as we know. There's been articles recently about how steps isn't necessarily the best way to get sedentary behavior out of the way, but it's the best way and the easiest way for us. Again, we're on the smallest team possible, and we would love to do all the very interesting things if we had a very giant team, but as some of you that work in small business understand, having 200,000 people with an extremely small team is hard enough to keep alive sometimes. But we are working on a lot of great features to engage people more, whether it be with stepping or other activities as well.
Yeah, that was great. Thanks for the presentation. We had a speaker from B Corp last week, and they had some interesting thoughts on like balancing of like, I think they called it triple bottom line, and just things, values outside profit motives. And I guess with nudging, it could nudge people to be better people or just better consumers. And I'm wondering if there's internal conversations about grounding the system in like underlying values or anything like that.
For sure, and the one thing I said is we were at that talk, and it's great because we are a B Corp as well. And it's really important to us that we stay true to our values because, again, there's a lot of opportunity for someone to take advantages of us if we weren't always thinking that. So every time we engage with a client or a partner, we really ask ourselves, does this align with our brand? Is this a feel-good opportunity, and is there something really to learn from this? Because if not, we have turned away programs before because we're like, this doesn't fit with our brand. It doesn't fit with the feel that we want to give to people about really improving their lives. So we actually do have quite a bit of those, and we've given up some pretty big logos just because we didn't feel like it was a good fit for us.
You're next.
Did you have any thought about, I don't know, talking to the government and use, do some kind of integration or something like from the health data of the health department?
Yeah, so actually, I forgot this, but we were actually started by the Public Health Agency of Canada. So we were actually started through a grant with them, and we actually work with the provinces to actually integrate and give that. We've also worked with several federal agencies to really drive their data as well. So we have worked with them, and I know we've talked about bringing in more and more data, which is something that we would love to do, and we have the capacity to do. We just don't have the people to do it. So we've talked about pulling in, healthcare data, the public stuff, or even pulling in information like weather data, because that could be extremely important when talking about someone's step goal and how active they can actually be. You don't want to nudge someone on a day it's in -40 out, because that's just a bad experience, right? So, and luckily for us, we have our big data techniques now, so it really wouldn't be hard for us to pull all that data into our servers and just kind of crunch it up. So it definitely is on the list for us to do.
Hi, could you give me an idea of your business model?
Yeah.
Who do you transact with? How do you make a living?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So basically, we started off with grants from the government in order to get started, and then we really started working with the provinces to work with them to determine what was important for them to engage with their population. And now we're starting to get a little bit more into the private sector as well, and what we really want to do is find the companies that have something useful to say to our users, right? And again, it really has to align with our values and what we're trying to do as a company as a whole. So right now, what we do is we use we basically sell the points to the actual clients themselves, and then we make a margin on top of that we're able to provide to our users. So that's how we're funding. And again, we're still growing and we're still learning the best model to do, but it's really our forefront to make sure that we only work with people that we can feel good about and that we know aren't going to manipulate our users in a negative way.
Just a quick follow-up on that, and don't answer if you don't want to. I'm just curious, are you actually financially comfy at this point? Is it self-sustaining? Are you doing okay?
Yeah, we're doing okay.
Awesome.
Right? we are a startup.
That's awesome.
We're
really
definitely a 3-year startup, and it's amazing how much we don't have to, again, sell our souls, because I think that's a good part of it. And one thing that, to be honest with you, talking at everyone at the executive level, we would rather take a dive than ever sell our souls. That's absolutely critical to us, because we are started by the government, but also we want to help the people, right? We have people inside our entire company. We don't smoke, we don't drive to work. These are actual morals that are very important to us, and we live every single day. And it's amazing to see the people that come in and how they change their lives because of that. So that's a critical aspect for us. We won't hire anyone if they don't believe in who we are, because I'm sure we've all worked at companies that have actually had an environment like that, and how amazing they feel, and how much you want to do your job. It's interesting. At our office, we actually have these poster boards where people send us in photos and tell us their story about how we've changed our lives, and we actually put them up there, and it's a reminder of us every single day of how we're changing people's lives. Of course, there's always those people that are like, I want more points, give me more points, right? But it's the stories that really have the impact of the people that really give us the reason to go forward. Yeah.
I think there's another startup in the city called League that is about measuring health metrics.
Yeah.
And I guess their target is sort of American insurance companies.
Yeah, they started in Canada, and I know they're moving to the States. I can't really speak much about them because I'm not affiliated with them, but they are basically a health insurance provider.
But I guess, what do you see as a broader platform where, could you take in data from someone's Strava feed or from their own data that they collect on themselves, and then how would that go towards, I don't know, could that play towards life insurance rates or something like that?
Oh, for sure. And that's kind of, we've had talks around that, kind of like that driver buddy that you can plug into your car and it watches you, and depending on your stats, it will kind of give you either a better or lower rate. I believe Manulife is doing that, a product called Vitality. The user count's really nothing to talk about, but it's important because I think that concept is something that's coming up, right? I think though it's kind of also hard to really limit yourself to a couple factors that can determine how healthy you are, right? So there's definitely an area that we would investigate with there. It just has to have the right clients to work with.
Wonderful. Okay, great. Chris, thank you so much.
You.
Fantastic presentation. Great answers. Okay, so next up we have announcements. So if you have something you'd like to share with the group, now is the time. It can be an upcoming